Hey, thank you for joining me in what I think will be an exciting period of self-discovery and growth for you and for me. So, my name is Peter Brooks, and before we begin, there are words to be said before all else. And what I'm going to recite for you comes from the Haudenosaunee tribe of American Indians who were mostly in the eastern, northern part of the United States. They are the regional authority pretty much around this area in terms of size and strength of tribe and independence from colonialism. This Thanksgiving address, which is called Words Before All Else, was recited amongst primarily men before they could begin anything. It can be said that it's a prayer because it is a form of giving thanks. It's also kind of greetings. These are the things that men would say to each other. So it's only appropriate to begin this way. Vikinanyok. Today we have gathered and we see that the cycles of life continue. We have been given the duty to live in balance and harmony with each other and all living things. So now we bring our minds together as one. We give greetings and thanks to each other as people. Now our minds are one. And the response is Nyo. So when I say now our minds are one, you say Nyo. We are thankful to our mother, the earth, for she gives us all we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us, and she has from the beginning of time. To our mother, we send greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. Nyo. We give thanks to all the waters of the world for quenching our thirst and providing us with strength. Water is life. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rains, mists and streams, rivers and oceans. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the spirit of water. Now our minds are one. Nyo. We turn our minds to the fish life in the water. They are instructed to cleanse and purify the water. They also give themselves to us as food. We are grateful that we can still find pure water. So we turn now to the fish and send our greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. Yo. Now we turn to the vast fields of plant life. As far as the eye can see, the plants grow, working many wonders. They sustain many life forms. With our minds gathered together, we give thanks and look forward to seeing plant life for many generations to come. Now our minds are one. Yeah. With one mind, we turn to honor and thank all the food plants that we harvest from the garden. Since the beginning of time, the grains, the vegetables, the beans and berries that have helped the people survive. Many other living things draw strength from them too. We gather all the plant foods together as one and send them a greeting of thanks. Now our minds are one. Myo. Now we turn to all the medicine herbs of the world. From the beginning, they were instructed to take away sickness. They are always waiting and ready to heal us. We are happy there are still among us those special few who remember how to use these plants for healing. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to the medicines and to the keepers of the medicines. For now, our minds are one. Yo. We gather our minds together to send greetings and thanks to all the animal life in the world. They have many things to teach us as people. We are honored by them when they give up their lives, so we may use their bodies as food for our people. We see them near our homes and deep in the forests. We are glad they are here, and we hope that it will always be so. Now, our minds are one. No. Now we turn our thoughts to the trees. The earth has many families of trees who have their own instructions and uses. Some provide us with shelter and shade, and others with fruit, beauty, and other useful things. Many people of the world use a tree as a symbol of peace and strength. With one mind, we greet and thank the tree life. Now, our minds are one. Yo. We put our minds together as one and thank all the birds who move and fly about over our heads. The Creator gave them beautiful songs, and each day they remind us to enjoy and appreciate life. The eagle was chosen to be their leader. To all the birds, from the smallest to the largest, we send our joyful greetings and thanks. Now our minds are one. We are thankful to the powers we know as the four winds. We hear their voices in the air as they refresh us and purify the air we breathe. They help us to bring the change of seasons. From the four directions they come, bringing us messages and giving us strength. With one mind, we send our greetings and thanks to the four winds. Now, our minds are one. Now we turn to the west, where our grandfathers, the thunder beings, live. With lightning and thundering voices, they bring with them the water that renews life. We are thankful that they keep those evil things made by Okwishries in the ground. We bring our minds together as one to send greetings and thanks to our grandfathers, the Thunderers. Now our minds are one. Now we send greetings to our eldest brother, the Sun. Each day without fail, he travels the sky from east to west, bringing the light of a new day. He is the source of all the fires of life, and with one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our brother, the Sun. For now, our minds are one. We put our minds together to give thanks to our oldest grandmother, the moon, who lights the nighttime sky. She is the leader of all women of the world, and she governs the movement of the ocean tides. By her changing face, we measure time, and it is the moon who watches over the arrival of the children here on earth. And with one mind, we send greetings and thanks to our grandmother, the moon. Now, our minds are one. We give thanks to the stars, who are spread across the sky like jewelry. We see them in the night, helping the moon to light the darkness and bringing dew to the gardens and growing things. When we travel at night, they guide us home. With our minds gathered together as one, we send greetings and thanks to the stars. For now, our minds are one. We gather our minds to greet and thank the enlightened teachers who have come to help through the ages. When we forget how to live in harmony, they remind us of the way we were instructed to live as people. With one mind, we send greetings and thanks to all those caring teachers. Now, our minds are one. Now, we turn our thoughts to the Creator, or Great Spirit, and send greetings and thanks for all gifts of creation. Everything we need to live a good life is here on Mother Earth. For all the love that is still around us, we gather our minds together as one and send our choices, words of greetings and thanks to the Creator. Now our minds are one. Yo. We have now arrived at the place where we end our words. Of all things we have named, it was not our intention to leave anything out. If something was forgotten, we leave it to each individual to send such greetings and thanks in their own way. For now, our minds are one. Yeah. So, after these words, a meeting could begin. And I think what's most profound about them to me is the fact that they represent so many things that people agree upon. And so in the address before beginning any type of business, it is important to recite all the things which the two parties have in common. And that way, you start off on a positive position. Because any words said after giving thanks to all of creation for our existence have to be sacred. They have to be very, very special words. Because you get a sense with the address that a door has been opened, a curtain has been lifted, an opportunity presents itself. So this may be why and how the great law of peace was able to be executed in this land for so long. I don't know if there's, other countries there are, perhaps, but that have lived in peace as long as the Native Americans lived amongst each other in peace. And even if there are other countries, this is a way, this is a secret. It's not about who's best or first or whatever. It's about what we can do as a species to survive. With all we know and all we've learned, how just the simplest of things can reset us back to a beginning, an introductory position. And so that's what I've tried to do here, is to reset you back to an introductory position. And so in respect for that, what I would like to do next is read a creation story from the Lenape. The Lenape is closer to my tribe. It is the language that many people in my tribe have adopted, and it's a similar creation story throughout many of the Algonquin people. So it's how we came to be on this earth. So after the Great Spirit and Creator of all, He who creates us by thought brought the world into being. There came a time very long ago when the animals were living in deep water with no dry land. They grew weary of being wet and wanted to find a way to bring up the mud from under the water. From the greatest to the least, each one dove under the water. One by one, they tried to dive deep enough to bring up some of the mud, and one by one they failed, being unable to dive for so deep and so long. It seemed as though none could bring up the mud from the bottom. All came back to the surface, gasping for air. It seemed an impossible task, for none was willing to risk their life to bring up the mud. Finally, after all the others had tried and failed, humble Muskrat took his turn. Muskrat dove deep and was under the water for a very long, long time. The other animals feared that Muskrat had drowned, for he stayed below the water much longer than any of them had. When Muskrat finally came back up to the surface, he was exhausted and close to death. The animal saw that there was a clump of mud scraped from the bottom in Muskrat's paw. Humble Muskrat had risked his life to dive deeper than any of them had in order to bring the mud up from the bottom. He who creates us by thought summoned Turtle to the surface of the water and placed the mud from Muskrat's paw upon the back of the turtle. He who creates us by thought caused the mud to grow, covering Turtle's back. As Turtle continued to raise his back, more water drained off, and the mud that grew and grew became dry, becoming the land. And the animals had dry land to live upon. One day, in the middle of the land, upon Turtle's back, there grew a tree, and from that tree grew a shoot, and from that shoot sprouted a man. The man would have been all alone, but then the tree grew another shoot, and from that shoot sprouted a woman. This was the first man and first woman, and they are the ancestors of us all. It goes on to say that other stories cite the Mincy, who say that in the beginning they dwelt in the earth under a lake, and were fortunately extricated from this unpleasant abode by the discovery which one of their men made of a hole, through which he ascended to the surface, on which, as he was walking, he found a deer, which he carried back with him to his subterraneous habitation. That there the deer was killed, and he and his companions found the meat so good that they unanimously determined to leave their dark abode and remove to a place where they could enjoy the light of heaven and have such excellent game in abundance. And the Delawares say that the heavens were inhabited by men, and that the Indians descended from them to inhabit the earth. That a pregnant woman who had been put away by her husband and thrown down upon the earth, where she was delivered of twins, and thus by degrees the earth was populated. The Nanticokes say that 7 Indians found themselves all alone on a sudden, sitting on the seacoast, but knew not where they came, whether they were created on the spot or came from some other place beyond the seas, and that by these the countries were peopled. So, creation stories, words before all else, at the very beginning. I do hope you enjoy the guided meditations. I hope that they bring you peace and solace and comfort and confidence, and that they make you a better human being, a better father, son, mother, daughter, cousin, aunt, uncle, friend, relative, grandfather, grandmother. Oh, thank you. Welcome to a guided meditation. My name is Peter C. Brooks. And for the next 10 minutes, I am going to give you a spiritually healing experience. So if you can, it's best if you just relax. find a place where you can close your eyes for the next 10 minutes. Really get into the music. Slow your breathing down. And just relax. From the moment you decided to click on this, or however you got here and chose to check it out, something inside of you awakened. Something that was always there, always inside of you. Your place of sanctuary, your personal refuge, your point of relaxation. As if you were just a little baby once more, floating on the water. And you remember you were so happy with everybody and everything. And that feeling that you feel now, that you remember, the feeling that the universe is here just for you, and you have just arrived. It's a place that you are familiar with. In these guided meditations, we are going to reawaken that place inside of you. That feeling that unites you with everything all at once and in all places. You are breathing nice and slow. The technology and the music and my voice helping you to relax and feel connected with all things. That's it. You are completely within yourself, breathing slowly and letting yourself go. You are in a place now where you can be completely relaxed and yet aware of everything going on around you. And you are connected to all things. And as you're breathing, you're taking in the good things for you. And you're expelling and setting free all of the negativity and all of the this is the time when you can consciously do that kind of cleansing. Because everything here has been created just for you. We are going to take this time to remind you who you really are. To remind you that you are a child of the universe with special gifts, a special light, and a special way of being. With these guided meditations, you will learn what it's like to let it go and be free. Find strength in your relationships, in all your relationships. And you will strengthen that image and part of you, part of yourself in which you are happy with everything. And you can repeat the things I say in your mind, or you can listen carefully and feel them, or speak with me. It's up to you. But together, we are going to get your brain to think positive thoughts and reaffirm your status as a good person, as someone who fights and stands up for what is good and what is right for your mother. And as we conclude, you can stop here at this meditation or go on to the next one. The most important thing to know is that I am Nuli Deha, good-hearted. They also call me Misko Banishi, Redbird. I am also known as cousin, friend, neighbor, uncle, grandfather, father, brother, and son. You too may be called by similar names. I have tried to give you Nihalata Mueakan, freedom, for your Manitou, spirit, so that you may be Pilahi Kweshi, spiritually cleansed and feel good. From here, go in peace. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This video is one of the first I'll be making in terms of an introduction or a guideline along guideposts along the spiritual journey. I wanted to give everyone a chance to understand who I am, what I'm trying to do, and what gives me the right or authority or even the credibility to do what I'm doing. So, as you know by now, my name is Peter Brooks. I was born in Washington, D.C., the youngest of two brothers. Happened to be born into a very relatively famous family in terms of my grandfather. And given, the neighborhood I grew up in, and my grandfather's history, we always thought and were told and told everyone that we were black. And, there never was any problem with that, except for I kind of could tell we were a little bit different and we acted different and kind of saw things in a different way. So I always accepted it, but was a little bit leery or uncomfortable about it. And, didn't know anything other than that. If I were to bring up stuff like about our possible, or people would say we had Native American heritage, I was told to kind of put that in the back burner to hide it somewhat. So when I got to graduate school, I really started appreciating the fact that we were different. I was at New York University studying production. And so I started investigating our family's Native American heritage. And it kind of fit me like a glove. When I went out to reservations and stuff, everyone was really kind and respectful and accommodating of me. And they helped me as much as they could. And I learned a great deal while I was out there. Just about every question I had was answered. There was nothing that was off the table. So I learned a great amount then. But I was also deeply troubled by many things that, I was seeing that was happening to Native American people, leading the nation, for instance, as an ethnic group in terms of suicide, poverty, and a lot of examples of self-destruction, and just hating your own culture. And I saw African Americans doing that as well. So there were a lot of really disturbing things, and I didn't know what I could do about it. And I was kept trying to think of things and wouldn't get anywhere. So when I came back east to be with my family, to take care of my family, to start my own family, I worked as a professor for many years, worked in corporations as an executive director, project manager, things like that. And still I was wondering what I could do to really leave a lasting impact and to really, really help people in a deep and a good way with all that I had been given, because I was at the confluence of both many different races, many different eras, many different beliefs, a number of different things that were just like coming together in my life as I was sort of a crossroads for all these different things, because I was open to it. You know what I mean? I was open to asking the difficult questions and exploring those difficult areas. So basically, what happened was one day I was working a temp job in a corporate office, and this young lady from accounting came up, and she was all in a panic and stuff. And I would play this really soft and soothing music, binaural music and new age kind of music, just to help me, get through the 8-hour day as a distraction, a positive distraction. So she came up to where I was working, and she was all in a panic because she was certain she was going to get fired for some mistake or something that she had made. And so I started talking to her and trying to calm her down and everything, and help her to realize that, it was going to be okay. And it worked. In just a few minutes, her panic subsided, and she felt a lot better. And she looked me dead in the eye and said, "You need to do this for other people." And so that's basically how the guided meditation started. The guided meditations, for me, they reminded me a lot of what I had learned on the reservation and from different spiritual leaders, in that they're not authentic. You know what I mean? It's not a true Native American ceremony when I do a guided meditation, but it is similar to the sweat lodge in this respect, or any ceremony, a pipe ceremony or something. It's that, you get the opportunity for about 10 minutes, or you can go on for as long as you want, several hours if you wish. But you get the opportunity for about 10 minutes to say whatever you want, whatever you wish for other people or for yourself or for the environment and other beings and things around you. And so that's what I do with the guided meditations. For 10 minutes, I'm really focused on the things that I wish for you. And they're always good things, they're always positive things, they're always things to try to uplift you, to heal you, to make you feel better, to give you strength, to give you a more healthy outlook, a more positive outlook. In addition, I found out that a 10-minute guided meditation, similar to the one I was doing, is a part of the yoga tradition called Shavasana. And I was really grateful to a friend of mine for pointing that out to me. And Savasana takes place at the end of the yoga practice, and it's about a 10-minute sort of dessert type period. It's the final relaxation, sweetest part of the entire yoga session. And I had no idea. I had never done yoga, even though people in my family had said, oh, you should do yoga, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I couldn't get the basic thing in yoga. They would be like, okay, touch your toes. And I was done. I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? So I didn't even really try to get into yoga. And then here I am, near the middle, toward the end of my life. And I come up with this practice that is very similar to yoga. And I guess the practice of Savasana is about 2,000 to 5,000 years old. I don't know. It's not sure because it's never been quite written down. And you'd have to say the same thing in terms of the sweat lodge. Sweat lodge is probably a good 4, 5, maybe even 10,000 years old. We really don't know. But in the sweat lodge, you're there with all of your brothers. And in this way, it's the same thing, except, the guided meditation is meant to be done on an individual basis. It's not really a group thing. But the timing is about right. The intention is about right. The style is about right. Now, in each of the guided meditations, I try to do 4 parts. An introduction to try to get you into it. I will do a visualization period. I will try to do a prayerful period when I wish things for you, or I'm trying to elevate you or something like that. And then I'll finally do a kind of a benediction or a blessing as you leave the meditation. The other thing that related to the meditations in terms of spirituality is the Dalai Lama. And, it was just ironic because, the Dalai Lama is a Buddhist, and as I understand it, Buddhism does to Hinduism sort of what Christianity did to Judaism. It universalized it. It made it accessible for a lot of people. Traditionally, in Judaism, which is more a religion that I'm familiar with because I'm, from the West, in Judaism, you have to be born Jewish to be Jewish. You can convert, but it's not really a evangelical type of religion. It's more of a birth thing. And the same thing with Hinduism. Hinduism also emphasizes this idea of birth and destiny, whereas Buddhism and Christianity give other people who are not necessarily Indian or Jewish the opportunity to participate in what is a similar or refined or more universally accepted or acceptable religion. And so, it's the same thing that I'm kind of trying to do with the Native American religion. You don't necessarily have to be born Native American to practice this way. And I guess I should say a few words about that too. My family are proctors, and throughout, in researching my family history, throughout the time we've lived with people and married into people like Dukeharts, Coverdales, Brookses, obviously. So we we've always hung out with Indian groups and Indian people. And you can see that in the census data with the people that my grandfather, great grandfathers, Sam Proctor Jr. and Sr. lived with. So that made me think that there was a lot of synergy right there. I think when you look at pictures of my grandfathers and stuff, you can tell that they have Native American ancestry, or at least, yeah, I don't see where you can get around it. But I don't have a card. I don't have any type of way of proving. My family members don't appear on a roll, and I haven't really researched it and stuff. And, you know, part of the reason is really because on one level, I don't think it's fair to allow someone else to tell you who you are. I think you should decide who you're going to be. And so a lot of that had to do with the first guided meditation, which I'm about to play, which was called Let It Go. And it's about, letting go of your self-limiting kind of negative beliefs, letting go of the things that other people have said about you, whether saying them lovingly or in an effort to make you feel their pain in some way or to unload their anxiety on you. I think, if I'm going to go and tell people that I'm Japanese, I have the right to do that no matter what I do, as long as I am living within the Japanese culture. And so I think it's the same thing. As a result, I, haven't done a DNA test. My father did it. He did 2 of them. He got 2 different results each time. So I've been a little bit leery about those things. And I don't even know what it means, if the test says, oh, he does have Native American blood, or he doesn't have Native American. What does that do for me and my heart and the way I see things and the way I am? And you see stories of people who think they're Scottish and they get all into the Scottish culture, and then they find out, well, they're not Scottish. Well, what's the big deal? Everybody is indigenous, whether you're Scottish or Italian or Piscataway or German or Japanese or from Myanmar. You're still indigenous to that area. So I don't know if the, stratification or the formalized declaration of people who are qualified as indigenous is really serving either the nation or the people that well. It's good to know who you are. It's great to be able to prove who you are, but you can also make a choice to be something else. And you see that increasingly, especially here in the United States of America, where people are choosing how they're going to live their lives based on their heart and what makes sense for them. And so now I don't have to listen to other people telling me who I am and how I should respond to things. I get the chance to say, I am this person, and this is how I respond to things. And I think that's really liberating. It's difficult to do that because, you encounter a tremendous amount of prejudice. As a good friend told me, it's not who you claim, it's who claims you. And so, I struggle with that, as do most people struggling with where they identify based on a larger group's acceptance, which is really fluid and fluctuates. One day you're the most popular guy, the next day nobody wants to talk to you. So, and you don't know why or when. So it's really difficult if you're going to allow other people to dictate how you should live your life. And then, of course, you get to the end of your life and you're like, well, what was this all about? And you realize that the whole time other people were telling you what you should be doing, and you never made a choice, for yourself. Or if you did, you didn't stick with it because other people told you that that's not a good idea or whatever. So yeah, I think it's really important. And that way, at the end of my life, I'm only accountable to really myself and my creator. I made the choices based on what I was given, not based on what someone told me or what, people said I should be doing. And I think that's a lot more healthy and a spiritual way to go. So the first take, like I said, let it go, dealing with a lot of these issues of identity, letting go of negative beliefs, and just, letting go of everything really so that you can really, really find yourself. When you've let go of everything and there's just this core left, well, that core is what's never going to leave you. And so that's what this meditation is trying to get to, is that core. Because all these other things obviously will shed off as you let them go. But the core is something you can't let go of. And so at the beginning, the very first meditation I did, Let It Go, starts with the core. So let's check it out. I did a whole, kind of music video with this one and everything. And I hope you enjoy it. Let it go. Find a place where you're comfortable and are ready and prepared to enjoy 10 minutes waves roll in, we are breathing out. It's as if our breath out is creating the waves. And as we breathe in, we see the water receding. Until it becomes a wave. And you finally breathe out. Good. Yeah. You are there. You are in your special place of relaxation. You are one with the meditation. And this feels so good to be unified with your Mother Earth. As you see the waves going out, you are breathing in, only to be ready to breathe out and watch the waves form as they go along the coastline. Bringing you at one with Mother Earth. And now I want you to physically manifest anything that has given you any trouble at all, anything that has caused you pain, anything that anyone has said about you or that you thought they said, or anything that you said or thought of someone else. All that negative energy, I want you to put it all together in your arm's reach, and I want you to just deposit it into a cloud that appears before you, and it is within your arm's reach. You pull it back, and then I want you to take all that negative energy and just let it go. Let it go. Let it go. See it getting smaller and smaller, drifting into the horizon, and it feels so good. All your worries and troubles have drifted far from you. You see it traveling farther and farther away. And as a result, you have enjoyed 10 minutes of bliss. And as you feel yourself returning to your body, coming back into the space where you are, coming back to your place here on earth. As a result of this experience, you know you are a better person. And you know that everyone is happy with your success because you help all the people. All the people. This is your special place, and you may come back here whenever you want. So, there you have it. Let it go. That was the first guided meditation in the entire series. You can see in my performance of it, looking back on it, how I was struggling, uncertain if this thing would work or not. I put myself in the trance state before I began. And I always struggle because I slip into the meditation, but I have to direct the meditation and keep talking and stuff like that while I'm going. So it's always hard. I'm always, walking a fine line between, being fully conscious and then following my own instructions and slipping into a semi-conscious state. So it's always a pretty good challenge. And I think that struggle is highlighted in that when you can tell, if you really listen to my voice, how I'm already in a deeply relaxed state and can't get my voice to, come over and be more commanding as it is in some of the other ones. In fact, the next one I'm going to show you, it's a behind the scenes one, and it shows me live and how I come up with these things. And I think in this one, because it's the most recent one I did, and this one is, it's not Calm Heart, it's Come Home. I think it's a little bit more commanding. I think in terms of the voice and the guided meditations, a lot of times one of the things that concerns me is that I'm trying to cram too much into too short a period of time. And I think with that very first one, Let It Go, that you heard, there was a really nice pacing and a nice amount of information, and it's not, squeezed too tight. In some of the other later ones, I think I kind of struggle with squeezing it all a little bit too tight. But they're all really effective because what happens is, the theory is that, and this has to do with neuroscience, you've got the Native American thing, you've got the Hindu thing. Well, here's the neuroscience part of it, and the sort of hypnosis is that, and this is, what the Dalai Lama is taking advantage of and saying, he put out his album of guided meditations. This is the first album ever released by a Dalai Lama, and he did it at 85 years old. So the idea was that as the mind begins to relax, it is more open to positive suggestions, because most people's mind are cluttered with negative things. Oh, you can't do that. No, you better. Yeah, you better. There's too much risk in it. And so that's our initial thing, because we're always thinking safety, first. And so, but if we get the mind to relax, if we can distract it in a positive way, then we can tell it, no, you are capable of doing that. And no, you will find the strength when the time has come to get done what you need. So that's sort of the theory behind it. And then you've got the binaural beats, the music itself. Now, the music I think, is just phenomenal. And I hope I do the music justice. I mean, I've been mixing these myself, and I'm not a very good audio mixing person. I don't know what the levels should be and stuff like that. But Grant Baldwin, who does the music, Grant Robertson, sorry. I knew a Grant Baldwin in my life, but Grant Robertson, who does the music, um, does a phenomenal job. Now, Grant used to do music for video games, those cute little melodies and stuff like that to it. And so, what I liked about his style of doing the music, and of course, I asked him for the solfeggio scale in there, so I could work around the scales of the music. But what I liked was that sort of lullaby, that rock away, type of those melodies that he gets in there, which are really, really soothing in a deep way and really consistent with the music. So that's another thing that's working. We're trying to use binaural beats. In other words, we put the left ear at one frequency and the right ear at the other frequency, at another frequency. And whatever the difference is between those frequencies is what the binaural scale, attunes to. And each of those scales, if it's 7 megahertz or 396 or whatever, it attunes to a certain wavelength that the brain uses, whether it's sleeping or relaxed or excited or contemplative or in maximum performance mode, etc. And so that's what we're trying to do with the binaural beats is, again, distracting the brain. The brain hears one frequency in one ear, the other frequency in the other ear. It's calculating the two of those frequencies, and it comes into the same wavelength when it does that calculation, when it does that subtraction, that it would if it were in a particular sleep, like high concentration, drowsiness, relaxation, etc. So that is also working on you. So you've got like 4 things happening in any one of my guided meditations, which are in operation. And of course, there are things that I don't even know about. Like I said, I went to graduate school. I was a college professor, very into theory and thoughts and how things work and stuff like that. Well, the theory behind the guided meditations is the idea of form and content. And that is that the form in which you say something, in other words, how you say something, is the equivalent to the content of what you're saying or what it is you're saying. And so we always say that form equals content, that how you say something is pretty much equivalent to what you are saying. So if you speak in a very deep and thoughtful and contemplative way, that your content is being received as very thoughtful and slow and contemplative. And likewise, if the formal approach, how you say something, is like contemplative and slow and really thoughtful, the formal approach equals the depth or the content of what you're saying. And so there you saw 2 different formal approaches of basically saying the same words. And even though the words mean the same, to you in your mind, because they were delivered in a certain way, they have different meaning for you. So form equals content. It also, relates to the idea of, do the ends justify the means? I could get you in a state of relaxation just by injecting something inside of you. That gets you to the end, but is the way I got there, in other words, injecting you with a needle, does that justify getting you to a point of relaxation? And so I know a lot of people, including myself, to be honest, take drugs and medications and stuff like that in order to help them feel better or to feel able to deal with the world and stuff like that. I mean, I think everybody does it to a certain extent. You just experiment with it to see what's out there. And so by doing the guided meditations, it's kind of saying, yeah, I tried that, but this is the same thing and you don't have to do drugs. So it's in addition, it's a form of, the means, a drug-free way justifying the ends, which is the idea that you are part of the universe, you're part of this earth, you are together, you are united, and you don't, you don't need to take your life, you don't need to be depressed because you're not alone. This is the fundamental basis of Native American spirituality, where other religions have these really complex economic things of where you are in debt because you owe God for your life and you do things that please Him. And if you don't, they are negative things. And if you do too many negative things, you have to pay off somehow for all of this to keep a good balance in your account. Native American spirituality, not really that way, not that economically based as so many formal religions are. In Native American spirituality, the goal is to be unified with all things, to attach yourself to the environment and the people and the things and the ceremonies and the activities that are going on around you, to be yourself and yet to be one with these things. And so that's the goal. That's a lot of what I'm talking about in the guided meditations, is that style of being connected and being unified. Fundamentally to the Native American religion is the term Mitakwio Yasin, which means we are all related, which means that you are relating yourself to everything. The fish, the water, the insects, the animals, the clouds, the breeze, the trees, the other animals, everything. So you're forming a relationship with these things. You're looking for a relationship to them. And that also kind of makes sense. So that's the intention behind the guided meditations. It's not a theological construct or anything like that. It's not a thing of conversion or evangelicalism or whatever. It's more so a return to what is fundamentally, basically human. Even if you are a Christian, for example, you are in a relationship with Jesus. Everyone knows that. You have a relationship with God, a relationship with the religion. In the Native American thing, you can have that relationship. That's perfect. But it's also with the rest of your environment as well. And so, one of the things that would happen in the oldest prayer in this part of the country where I am, that's still handed down, comes from, the Iroquois, the Seneca Nation, the Gnyanyok. And in the Gnyanyok, which would be recited whenever men would come together, Native American men in this part of the country, it is an acknowledgement of, all of the things that we are grateful for. And if we can agree that we are grateful for these things, then we are one. Our minds are together. We are together when we start this meeting. We all agree on these principles, and so we can further discuss. And so you're building momentum towards a positive outcome for your meeting by first establishing all the things that you agree on. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get you way back into the very basic thing of human beings. And so I don't care if you're Muslim, Christian, Buddhist, Hindu. I'm not messing with that at all. All I'm trying to do is enhance your experience of being a human being. And that going by the knowledge which has survived despite the attempted genocide of the Native American spirituality to this day. So the next guided meditation I'm going to play for you is called Come Home. This is the first one that I recorded live. And like I said, it shows you behind the scenes of how these things are done. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's a bit more mature than Let It Go. And it's the last one I'm going to show. And of course, after that, you'll see how these things continue to develop. if you subscribe to my channel, and you'll get notified each time I release a new video or a new guided meditation, and you get to check out what this guy is doing now. Because even though they're all basically the same, they all have different intentions, whether it's to calm your heart, to make you feel at home, to reduce your anxiety, or to let go of things, losses and stuff like that. So designed to help people in crisis, nervous, anxious, help you even fall asleep, whatever. Guided meditations with Peter Brooks. This next one, Come Home. Enjoy. Okay, hope you're getting audio. Welcome. My name is Peter C. Brooks. And over the next 10 minutes, if you allow me, we will go together to that quiet, secret place deep inside of you. The place where you go when you want to feel completely relaxed. And we are going to that place in order to help both of us to feel more grounded, secure, home on our Mother Earth. Because you are listening carefully to this music, the sound, the pacing of my voice is already causing your breathing to slow down. Feel your body just becoming heavier and heavier, sinking just a little bit into the earth as if you're on a nice cushion. And as you're going deeper and deeper into new levels of relaxation, feelings of bliss, your breathing becomes slower, and then suddenly your spirit becomes free. And it is in this spirit and this vision that you can see the entirety of your body from head to toe, as if you are floating above it. You're looking at your beautiful and powerful and capable body, and you are in awe of its miracle. You feel grateful, appreciative that you have been given such a gift. As you look upon your body, its entirety. And as the body, you're above it, floating, loving it, healing it, appreciating it. The body longs for your spirit, and so you go back in, merge your spirit and your body together again. But this time, your spirit is going to force out all of the negative feelings and toxins and regrets that you might have. Your spirit is obliging you to forgive, because in forgiveness there is love, and in love your body is being healed. And your love for your body is moving you to a higher level of health and clarity. Just as when you sweat or have goosebumps, all the things that have harmed or hurt your body are leaving through the skin, being forced out by your spirit, which is healing you. And together, your spirit and your body, we are working to reset your mind and spirit back to the point of divine innocence, the moment when you were just a baby, perfect and loving, perfect. And it's okay to smile, because you are in a state of complete appreciation and love and healing for your body. And I want you to reflect on all of those beautiful places that your body has taken you to, all of your land and your country and your home and your ceremonies and family reunions and all these mountains and rivers and beaches and cliffs that you've seen, the woods, all these memories and people reminding you what a beautiful place the earth is. These are the things that your body has given you. And if they make you feel glad and the strong emotions, that is good. And if you feel a sense of melancholy, that shows that you are strong, because you have felt everything and survived. Through this meditation, I pray that I have calmed your heart. Matah, Leli Temawea, Kate Sakawiksan. Let not your heart be troubled. Nuliteha, good heart. as you emerge from this meditation, you feel better, knowing that you are a better person because you have witnessed your body from a higher self. You have worked to heal your body. You have felt what it's like to be at all the beautiful places you know. And I am asking that all your relations help you, just as all my relations have helped me. And I pray that our love and appreciation for you fills your body with an inner peace. For as long as the flowers grow, and the rivers flow, so that is the guided meditation entitled Come Home. And it's designed to, bring you back to your Mother Earth. And I wanted to talk just a little bit more about the idea of identity and authority. What gives me the authority to do these types of things, especially if I'm not black, not white, not Indian, not Asian, not Jewish, or any other of these ethnicities or races, as they're called. And so not being any of them kind of makes you all of them. You're a part and yet are not a part of each of them as you see fit. You can feel it all. But I guess that at the end of the day, you do want to try to identify yourself so that people know really where you're coming from. And if I were given the choice, which, we said earlier, all humans should be given the choice no matter what they look like. They should have the right to choose their culture. They can't choose their race, where they're born or who they're born from and stuff, but they can choose how they decide to live their lives, what cultural choice they're going to make. And so if I were to tell you where I was from, what race I am, I would say that I am from the people from the place where the waters flow. And so if it makes it easier for you, you could call me, he comes from the water, comes from water. And so people who come from water, and this is what we really believe, where we come from, they have no race, really. Like water, it's formless. You know what I mean? Water has no religion, can speak any language, can fit in anywhere. A person, from the place where the waters flow, the people from the water. It's almost like turtles. Turtles are also from the water. And I think of turtles because the place where I am, boy, gosh, even when I was a young child, used to have a lot of turtles. And now, they don't see any. But like turtles make no distinctions between races. If you're a box turtle, yeah, you're a box turtle, and you're not ethnically different if you're a snapping turtle, for instance, because you're just a snapping turtle. So they also make no distinctions between religion or language or anything like that. Turtles, they just are what they are. And just as being born a turtle has the right, if it could so choose, to decide how it's going to live its life. So this is what I'm trying to get across, is that for anyone who would tell you what your race is, or religion, or even your sexuality is a trap, it gives them a certain sense of authority, ownership, creative license, with you, to define you how you are. You can play along with that thing, but it's a trap, and don't fall into it. You can leverage whatever you have, to your benefit, and to form relationships that help you as a result of this thing you call yourself, or that other people identify you as being. But it's kind of a trap, in that we all really have to work together to help each other to survive at the end of the day. And this is where our emphasis and our appreciation should really flow. And this is what, we believe is because Earth has given us so many gifts. Now imagine, you're a person from the place where the waters flow, all right? And that means the earth is your mother, the father is your sky. These are your parents, okay? And your parents have given you so many things because they put you here to begin with. You came from the earth, you returned to the earth. That should give you a great deal of confidence, because your parents have given you powerful gifts: air, fire, water. I mean, the earth is perfect for human beings. So, all I'm saying is that shows you that they really love you. That's what the guided meditations are about. It's reminding you of that. And also, you have really powerful allies. And this has got to give you some confidence too. It's true that the people who believe in races and stuff like that, they all worship time. The clock tells them where to be and what to do and where to go and how much they can get accomplished and what they should be doing. But for other people, it's gravity. And see, gravity, like magnetism, like intuition, like empathy, like emotions, has a defining characteristic of it, in that it is more powerful, really, than time. So gravity, if you take a clock and put it 50 stories into the sky, and you take another identical clock and put it 50 stories into the earth, the clock that is closest to the center of the earth will move faster. And that is because of gravity. See, gravity keeps us all from floating through space. It organizes everything, and it is the fundamental basis of the predictability in the universe that we depend on, because gravity is very predictable and very confident. And so that's all, I'm saying, is the closer you get in terms of relationships with things at the core, such as gravity, the better your experience will be here above the earth. And so, through the guided meditations, I try to give you that confidence, that feeling, that vibe. And I'll also tell you this, the guided meditations are kind of like a cough drop, you know what I mean? They last for 10 minutes and then it's done, you know what I mean? You have to move on to the next thing. It doesn't, it's not a lifetime, cures you for a lifetime. It's just an experience, you know what I mean? And so, like a cough drop, it lasts a short period of time. You feel better, whatever. You're still sick, if you're taking a cough drop, as an example, or whatever. So, I just wanted to explain myself to a certain level. This is what all these things are about. Now you understand them a little bit better, hopefully, what I'm trying to do. It was the best thing I could think of to heal people in the middle of a tremendous crisis and a period of uncertainty, to try to remind us all, irrespective of where we're from or what we believe, that we all share very basic, common characteristics and common destinies, because we are all here on this planet Earth together under the sky. And so I hope you'll join me for this journey. I hope it helps you. I hope you learn a great deal from it. It helps you to self-actualize, become a better human being, because that's, at the end of the day, what it's really all about. And of course, the secret to becoming a better human being is to do many of those things which human beings can only do, such as express sympathy, receive and express appreciation, empathy, compassion, kindness, thoughtfulness, prayer, those types of things, the things that really make us a noble species with a noble life. I'm trying to put you in a positive frame of mind for doing all those things and being a positive influence on both your life and the people within your environment, the people around you, because those relationships are really, really important. Because as you know, relationships is at the center of what we're talking about here, is all your relationships. So, having said that, I'm going to conclude this now. Hope I haven't talked your ear off or whatever, talked too much, but thanks for spending time with me, and please enjoy the guided meditations. Even if you don't understand anything I talked about, I've tried to make them as easy and as fun and as blissful as possible.